Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. We talked about in the previous year, the Jewish class, about what is the shirish, what is the root where everything comes from a woman. How does she feel that she is now in control as opposed to just feeling she's in the ocean? And we said that a woman, when she is protective about her surroundings, what she hears, what type of friend she has, where she works, if she's working, this is not a good neighbor, this is a good neighbor, this is a good place to live, this isn't a good place to live. She's very attentive to her surroundings. When she does that, that's how she feels that she's in control. For a man, now let's go to a man, because we talked about a man before, but we didn't get into this nakuda. We said it, but I don't know if we said it like the way we're going to say it now. A man, his shirish, the vocal point by a man is his actions. That's where a man, he could be in a bad surroundings. It could be that he has people at work, the workplace isn't such a good, environment, but he stays strong. Why? Because he doesn't do that bad action. As long as he doesn't do the action, he is not that. When a man does good actions, well, first of all, the action, when a man does action, that's how he feels in control. When he does good actions, now he feels in control of being a good person. If he can't control his actions, then he doesn't have reign over himself. He feels that there's something else controlling him. But when he takes control of his actions, that's when a man feels he's in control. Now, there's these two things, the actions and the protection. You understand? So a woman, it's the protection that comes first, and then the action. For a man, it's the action, and then it's the protection. So therefore, a woman, she could do an act, but since her protection is different, so even if it's, let's say, a bad act, she did it, but in her mind, it really didn't exactly happen because action doesn't define her. Surrounding does. You understand? But by a man, he does an action and he's completely broken because he believes that he is that. He doesn't realize that there's something called a mistake. And just because you did that action doesn't mean you're that evil person. This is the nakuda. This is the fine difference between a man and a woman. This also, we start to understand a bit why a man, right? It's in the Bible, but they also did physical, studies to, and they, I don't know if it's such a good thing they did these studies, but it was done, and they found that a man could have more than one wife, and he could function normally, he could be okay in life. It's fine by him. You understand? It's not something that's damaging. But when a woman does it, it just causes her to be damaged. And part of that reason is because a man, he defines himself by his actions. And therefore, if he decided to love and take care of two women or more, then he'll do that, because that's it. The fact that there's another wife doesn't degrade from how he treats the other, because when he decides to do this action of taking another wife, then, now of course today it's not done, but in most countries, but let's say people moved out to places that it's still done today and the wife agrees, you understand, then he doesn't get messed up by that, because he decided to do this action, and he could treat this one with love and care and treat that one with love and care. However, a woman who, it's her surroundings, you understand? This is her husband. In surroundings, you can't have two surroundings. You can only have one surrounding. And if this is her husband, this is her, this is her rock, this is her surrounding, then bringing in another man takes away from the first. It's impossible for a woman that the second man shouldn't take away from the first. By a man, it doesn't have to take away. He could treat each one with love and care, you understand? And supporting and taking care of them. But a woman, she can't have two surroundings. You only have one. You could make believe that there's something else, but you could only physically have one surrounding. And therefore, when a woman has two or more, it starts to mess up the relationship. Meaning, if there's another man, then now she's taking from the first relationship, and she's taking some of it and giving it to the second. It's not that each one gets me fully. Now, it's important to note that, when we talk about distinctions of how Hashem created a man and a woman, you can't just, you could physically decide a woman could decide to force herself to only think the way a man thinks, and a man could decide to try to force himself to think the way a woman thinks, or just that he's a nothing, you understand? You could try to do that, but it's never going to succeed, because Hashem hot-wired into you this spiritual DNA. It's also a physical DNA, but certainly it's a spiritual DNA. And you can't just play with God. He created you that this is how it works. And therefore, if you don't take his advice, when he gives you the manual for the boat and you just decide, you don't take the advice how to break it in, how it works, then you just cause damage to yourself. That's it. There's no winning God, So this is the understanding of the difference. Again, a man his action defines him. If he did the action, he believes that that's him. Now, of course, he also knows that you have to be careful of surroundings. You have to put yourself in a better environment. Absolutely. He understands that. And he knows that that's extremely important. But that doesn't define him. His surroundings doesn't define him. Rather, his action does. A woman, her surroundings defines her. who her friends are, what community she's in, who she's around. It defines her. She also knows that she has to make the right actions. She knows that, but that doesn't define her so much. She's much less affected when she does negative action. That's what you could have it that, like a woman, she did it, and in her mind it didn't happen. You understand? Because the action is not what defines her. Rather, it's her surroundings. Who's her husband? Who's her friends? What type of neighborhood is it? That's what defines her. At the same time, she also knows that she has to do good. She has to be. She has to cause good and love in the world, and she knows that she needs to do those actions. She absolutely knows that, and a good person wants to do those actions. She knows that, but that's secondary. The actions is secondary. This is why we see that the Satan, when he attacks a man, he wants to make him lazy, right? Men have a problem with laziness. Why? Because if you're lazy, then it ruins the mahus, the whole makeup of a man. His whole shirish is action. His whole foundation is action. The whole vocal point is action. So if the Satan can make you lazy, then he ruins you as a man. A woman, on the other hand, we don't see the Satan trying. They don't. Laziness, today laziness hits everybody, But you see that women are not so affected by laziness. You know what they're affected by? Because of other reasons not to be careful about the surroundings. Because this person's rich, I'll marry him. But that might not be a good surrounding. You got to make sure that he's rich and that he's a good, balanced person. You understand? But she'll forget about that. The Yetzer Hara tries to make her get in her surroundings people that are not up to par. Whether it's a male in her surroundings or a female, that's what he tries to do. Let's see if we could go a step deeper. Right, we talked about in a shir, this is what we're all, this is why we're focusing on it. We talked about in a shir what a man wants from a woman in marriage. We talked about that. You could go back and see it all in depth. And then we said, but what does a woman want in marriage? We sort of, we know so many things, but it's hard to. We don't just want to have ideas. It's important, right? All the different ideas, write them down, know that they exist, absolutely. But we also want to figure out the shirish, the root, the vocal point. And a woman in marriage, let's see if we could do this together. What does a woman want in marriage? So, now that we're understanding the shirish, the foundation, that it's surrounding. That's her, when she protects her surroundings, that's when she feels in control. A woman wants safety. She wants from her husband safety. She wants safety from people that are not nice, from dangerous people. She wants mazain. She wants that the man brings home the food. He goes out and brings it in. She wants to be in a safe zone. That's what a woman wants a man to do for her, to help her in whatever way that he can, to give her a safe zone. Of course, part of that is that he treats her with love and kindness, compassion. This is what she wants. She wants the man to give her a physical and spiritual safe zone. And even, you have to remember, even if a woman is trying to act like a man is trying to act like a woman, right? And it's not this, not severe cases, but just in this, they don't realize this about themselves. This causes damage to them. And until they fix it and heal themselves, it's very damaging. So a man is action. Let's go over it a bit. Maybe Hashem will give us new lights and we'll come up with, new nekudas, new aspects. A man is action, and what he wants from his wife is that she compliments him. He wants his actions to be complimented. He wants that she thinks that he is smart, intelligent, and that she can reside in him. He goes out, conquers the world, brings home the prey, brings home the food, keeps her safe. If someone tries to hurt her, he protects her. If someone's trying to start up with his wife, whether it's a male or female, he protects her. He wants her to appreciate and respect him and to take his guidance. And the woman wants to take guidance from a man. It's amazing how Hashem made it. Today people, they get all, from a young age, they're taught, women's lib, women's rights, and this and that. And of course, if, people that, God forbid, are beating women and things like that, being abusive, just taking and not protecting, that's what's giving to a woman, protecting and making the safe zone, like we discussed, and treating her, with tremendous love and compassion and care. If that was the movement, then there would be nothing wrong with saying women's rights. But the problem is that women's rights is not about giving the woman what she really wants, a safe zone. She wants to feel safe, secure. She wants to feel that in this safe zone there's love and compassion. My husband cares about me. He protects me. He feeds us. That's not what they're saying. They're saying that the woman should force herself to make herself think that action is the most important thing, to work like a man. And what is a man? A man is a nobody. He's like a parasite, a necessary evil. At best, he's a necessary evil. He's an evil that I can get pleasure from. That's how they look at a man. Such evil people. They completely degrade the woman. They make the woman think that being a woman is nothing, and being a man is everything. And a man, because he is a man, he is evil. So really, they're saying that both inherently what a woman is and inherently what a man is, you shouldn't be. That's inherently what they're saying. Whether they realize this or not, that's what they're doing. We have to move away from that. We can't allow our lives to become affected by this. Now, we talked about a woman wanting to listen to a man, right? A man wants a woman that wants to listen to him. Because, and he's the one that goes out into the world. He understands that it's not safe to go here. You have to be careful of those people. They'll try to get you to sin, whatever sin it may be. God forbid, it could be a serious sin. He understands the world because he's involved in it. He could live outside of the safe zone and be safe. As long as he keeps his actions pure. And that gives him a big wisdom when it comes to life, what to do. Now, within that safe zone, a woman, there are many aspects within the safe zone that, meaning in general, in the safe zone, that's when a man should listen to a woman. So, for instance, the deepest safe zone of a woman is the house, and therefore, when a woman says, "This is how it should be decorated. This is where the table. This is where the couch goes, and this and that," a man should want to listen to her, and a good man does. A good man is like, "Yeah, you know this best." She's very good within that safe zone and what comes out of it. But outside that safe zone, that's where the man is the expert. And a woman naturally understands that. Now, a woman could corrupt herself, but she wants to listen to the man. She wants to, many times she doesn't even want to say. She just like, "What do you think?" You understand? She's like, because that's his expertise. You understand? And that's really the core. But of course, the man's expertise encompasses on a day-to-day basis, because most of people's choices are things that are outside, and therefore that's the man's expertise. Now, since it covers so many things, he's only one person, you understand? So it's good for him to hear what does his wife think, and he understands this as well. And when a woman thinks that her input is important, she'll say it, and of course he'll listen, and then he'll put the pieces together, and he'll figure out, according to what the information, what is the best thing to be done now. And Sometimes we're thinking, well, those women who are like, you're not going to tell me what to do, this, that. We just have to know to keep away from those women, because those women are not women, and they're not a man either. As much as a woman tries to be a man, she can't be. And as much as a man tries to be a woman, he can't be. It's all fake. It's not really who they are. As much as they try, it's fake. And, we could feel bad and pray for them that they should be healed from the sickness of the Satan, of the Satan. But it doesn't mean that we should spend time with them, that our kids should be around them. It's so amazing how Hashem, how He did it. That in essence, what a man's looking for is what a woman wants to give. And what a woman's looking for is what a man wants to give. How He made it, it's so genius that our deepest wants are actually what the other person desires. It's so deep. It's such chesed Hashem, such kindness from God. And together there's this symphony. Together, the power of a couple like this is endless. It's stronger than the atom bomb. It's further than light years away, how far it reaches. This type of couple, they could be very old, but the connection only got stronger. Why? Because they followed God. That's why. At the end of the day, you can't, God is stronger than you. And not only is God stronger than you, He wants the best for you. And since He's stronger than you, and He wants the ultimate best for you, more than you could ever dream for yourself, therefore, He put together the best plan. The best. And you can't go against it. I mean, you physically could, but it's not going to be successful. If you want to become a good, wholesome person, a spiritual person, a good spouse, a good parent, a good human being, you gotta follow God's plan. And if one thinks that God doesn't exist, then and now he's trying to figure out the plan according to evolution, which is impossible, because according to evolution there is no plan. It's random. And then the randomness all of a sudden decided to have a plan, which is God, right? meaning evolutionists, the creator for them is when evolution decided to have a plan, that, because everything works in such symmetry. But there's no explanation of how that happened. Who's making that plan? The only one that could be making that plan is before everything began, which is God. So really, evolution is inherently that they're trying to find the source. They're saying that They're saying that it all of a sudden began to, you know, get rid of the bad species and keep the good ones and keep building until you had a human being, until you had a whole, you know, populated earth and everything. The only explanation for that is God. But they just say it, but they leave out God because they don't want to know his existence, because they just want to do what they want to do. They don't want to be bound by anything, even if that's trying to help them. And again, if a person has this issue that they do not yet believe in God, or they're not 100% sure, that's like a first thing to work on, because Hashem Tzuri, God is my rock. He's like the foundation of all goodness, of my life being a success, of me not just screwing my life up again and again and again. And without the knowledge, without that gnosis of God, a person is like in the wilderness, trying to figure out ethics without God is very difficult. There's certain basic things, yeah, but very difficult. And it changes over time. You know, 100 years from now, if you had a person that's an evolutionist 100 years from now, they'll be much worse than they are now. You understand? Because according to that view, morality is, you know, changes according to what people accept and think. And people, the whole point of evolution is to say that I could do whatever I want, so they're going to keep trying to make more things that they could do it, whatever they want in that scenario. And the differentiation between good and bad, evil and kindness is lost. The only way to keep it is God. Otherwise, everything goes into complete shambles, we self-destruct ourselves. First we're like, oh, you whites have to give all these things to the blacks, and we destroy the white race. And then the blacks destroy themselves. You understand? We all have to learn to appreciate each other, to see the goodness that this other person gives to the world, provides, the goodness that this nation gives to the world and provides. We have to start, we have to take it very seriously to become positive. With us doing this, realizing the deepest way, like we discussed, of who we are. You know, there's understanding you as an individual, then there's understanding you, you know, on what sex are you? Are you a male or a female? You understand? So right now we're discussing a male and a female. And of course, then a person goes on to the next level. Me as a male, me as a female. Who am I? That's the next level, you know? And I can't tell you that. You know, I don't know you, I mean, you understand? And if you don't ask me, you know, it would take time for us to spend together for me to figure that out. You know? But what we can do together over the screen, is you could get clear. What am I? I'm a male. What am I as a male? And I'm a female. What am I as a female? And you're going to see something miraculous when you loosen up and let that flow into you. Your whole life is going to change. You're going to stop, bumping into all these people that, you shouldn't really be getting around. Certainly, you're thinking for them as marriage. You're going to realize, what am I doing? You understand? I'm ruining my safe zone. These actions are defining me. You're going to start realizing it. And you're going to start to take heed. And you're going to start to understand that if you want to be successful in business, you got to work hard. You got to take it seriously. You want to be successful in life, you got to work hard. You got to take it seriously. You're going to realize there's no jokes. I can't just, let the times take me. If I really want to become an Adam Shalom, a complete human being, as a male, as a female, I have to start taking life. I have to start taking control of my life, taking control of my safe zone, taking control of my actions. I have to start doing that. And Mitzvah Hashem, with us doing that, we're going to change our lives to so good. You're going to get an awesome spouse. You're going to have kids that respect and adore you. And you're going to find good spouses for your kids. You're going to be successful when it comes to business, bringing home money for the family. Life is going to be such a bliss. You're going to go from heaven on this world, to heaven in the next. And the next heaven, wow, is it so special. It's so, it's such next level, I love you, and Hashem loves you more.